Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, the employee from hell finally gets herself fired in a hilarious way. Entitled siblings demands I help them move. Aita? Had to cancel dog sitting. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. The employee from hell finally gets herself fired in a hilarious way. Until about an hour ago, I had the employee from hell on my team. This woman couldn't show up on time in appropriate clothing to save her life, generally had a bad attitude, half-assed every task, and would not shut up about her personal life. We've basically been waiting for her to do something egregious enough to merit a third write-up in 6 months, which results in almost automatic termination. So today she shows up late again and I was already in the middle of gleefully writing her up. Instead of apologizing or at least getting to work right away, this idiot starts babbling about how she's so hungover and trying to tell everyone about her weekend exploits, but nobody paid any attention to her except my assistant, who rolled his eyes, sighed heavily and turned away. I had to take a call at that point, so I didn't see what happened next. But a few minutes after I hung up, the head of HR came into my office with a goofy smile on his face and closed the door. Apparently, hungover Hannah, sorry, I couldn't help myself, was insulted by our disinterest in her sad little life and marched into his office to claim that we were creating a hostile work environment by disrespecting her. He fired her on the spot. I didn't even have to divide up her tasks among the staff, because they were so happy to see her go that they did it themselves before I had a chance. Good riddance. ETA, this is too good to not add since you all enjoyed this little bit of Monday snark. The guy who fired her took her into the little office we use for interviewing people, listened to her rant and said, "Okay, but you were late again today, so we're going to have to let you go. Your paperwork is in process. You can hang out in here while we get everything together." My hero. I once had a work colleague like that. I used to work in a nursery while I was doing my degree. An employee would often come in late or leave early, and constantly talk about how drunk or high he was the night before. We work with young children, so a lot of staff were put off by the conversation. Sometimes his pupils were so dilated I was convinced he was still high at work. He eventually got fired but threatened to bring Ofsted in as he left. Ofsted came in and we got an outstanding rating. Why do these people want their colleagues to know that about them? I don't understand. I hope this person is young, like freshly legal to drink and party. Otherwise, the story just gets more pathetic the older the dumb employee is. LOL. No, she's old enough to be long past that particular stage of life. Our college-age interns are much more mature. I had to give one of them a key this semester because he likes to show up at 7 a.m. and get a couple of extra hours in. He's definitely getting a full-time job here the minute he graduates. Entitled siblings demands I help them move. My sibling is moving out of their current apartment into another one. They first loudly stated that I don't need anyone to help me move. But after a while they kept calling me, complaining that it's so much to do and winning that no one is helping. No shit. I just said MHMOF, knowing fully well what would come next. They asked, "You don't want to help me," which I declined. They said okay in a sad tone. A day later my mom calls me and said that my sibling is so sad and disappointed that I don't help them. I couldn't care less. They never helped me move either or even visited me for an evening. I did help when they moved into that apartment and several times later with my car. Even when they previously called it ugly AF, but then it's good enough to haul stuff because of its big trunk. They also lightly insulted me a day before and much more times over the year. I even thought about taking a break from our relationship. Now they expect me to help them move? No. You don't get to threaten people bad, make fun of their belongings, and still get help from them. Mom cares so much, she can go help. She does. But they said they don't need help from anyone before. We had no idea. Only learned that they struggle when they went angry about simple questions relating the apartment. Sibling complained, said they're sad no one is helping. So I told my parents and sibling went off on me like I spilled a big secret. Hey, you wanted help, I said parents you need help and they will help. And now you're offended. Tell your sibling that you completely understand how hard it is to move because you have had to do it yourself. But unfortunately, you are busy and can't assist. I got help, but not from them. I'm really busy. I've to work long hours till past midnight and they want me to come, help pack stuff and then go to work. You are under no obligation to lift one finger to help. Your sibling is acting like a toddler running to mommy and whining. Aita? Had to cancel dog sitting. Hi everyone. I agreed to house sit/dog sit for a friend. She asked me to move my family, me, husband, and son to her house for 4 days. I had to fly on a work trip the day before. When I landed, I drove straight to her house. My husband that morning packed all of our stuff, dropped our dog off at my parents' house, and met me at their house. I got there and there were 4 pages of details for the dogs. When they eat, when they walk, etc., etc. Fine. Got it. They get 8.5 pH water and can't have any other water. Okay. The dogs are really anxious, hence why I couldn't bring my dog. I get off the plane and take a nap with the dogs. My husband arrives and we take them on a walk. Shortly after, I get a call from my dad saying my aunt had a stroke and my other aunts are driving from Mexico, about 2 hours from us, and need to stay at my house. He will house some family and I will house some. That's standard for family visits from Mexico for my family. We house them and drive them as they are elderly and don't live in this country. I call my friend and tell her the situation and that my only solution is I bring her dogs to my house. She's apprehensive but agrees. She tells me to keep her updated as much as possible, they need to sleep in my room, etc., etc. Fine. One of the dogs sleeps on my bed and I get zero asleep because I've got the family situation going on and I'm worried about my dog at my parents' as my dog can be an escape artist. In the morning, I'm tending to my child, my aunt, and my husband walks the dogs. One of the dogs won't pee or poo. Neither dog will really eat. My friend says she was scared this would happen because they are anxious. I'm starting to snap with all this on my plate. My son, who misses me from my work trip, is being ignored while I tend to all this and am running on little sleep. My aunts need rides and I have to coordinate to rally around sick aunt. I reach out and tell my friend again the situation and that I really need help finding a solution. Can someone else watch the dogs at their house? Can she come home? She's a flight attendant on call in another city but doesn't have any trips. She says there's no one, she can't call out. Her mom is pissed at me. I say okay, what about cousin who lives 2 blocks away? Nope, she has dogs of her own and she doesn't like to leave them. I'm getting increasingly frustrated. I feel torn because I agreed to this responsibility but am getting frustrated with her lack of proactiveness in helping find solutions. Mind you, they have a large house with a lawn and everything. But it's not good enough if they are simply fed and walked while they are away. Someone needs to be with them 24/7. They are healthy but anxious, I guess. She is telling me that it's messed up, they will have to be alone and that I am abandoning them. Again, I remind her that they are still with me, fed, and being walked and loved and cared for, but we need to start brainstorming solutions. At one point I snap so badly at my son I'm bawling in my room because I know it's not his fault but am losing my mind in all the chaos. I'm sure this friendship will be over after this. She told me to drop the dogs off and she has it figured out. Again, I know I agreed to all this. And I am not taking it out on the dogs one bit, they are sweet. But I'm left feeling like these dogs are so anxious because they have been treated like human babies their whole lives. I've noticed a correlation between my anxious friends having extremely anxious dogs. The 4 pages was all about the dogs. Not one excerpt was the Wi-Fi is this. The towels are stored here. You and your family can sleep here. Feel free to some food or hair race money for food nothing. I'm guessing she won't pay me since I didn't complete. That's fine. I feel bad for the dogs, but what could I do? A coworker who lived in the other half of my duplex had to leave town for the weekend and asked me to take care of her cat. I asked if I needed to bring the cat to my house, and she said, no, not necessary, since the cat is more comfortable in hers. Okay, not a problem. Then the problems began. She began by telling me that I needed to buy a specific brand of canned tuna and either fresh or canned shrimp, because she was out, and that was all the cat would eat. She said she'd pay me back. Okay. Then she said I needed to hang out in her house while the cat ate, since said cat refused to eat when she was alone. Then she asked if I would take a bath at her house so cat could bathe with me? And I needed to rock the cat to sleep each night, but it only takes about an hour. Thank God she told me all of this before I committed, because cat sitting suddenly became a hard no. I'm not sure if she found someone to follow her instructions, and I don't care. Your friend is incredibly selfish to expect you to coddle her dogs during a time like this. I'm sorry you're going through this. It sounds like your friend needs to either train her dogs, it reduces anxiety for them, or put them in a kennel. You are completely in the right to tell her that you couldn't keep up with everything else going on. Sending hugs to you and yours. Drop off the dogs, take a nap, and do whatever you need to do. Thank you so much. NTA. 2 things. Family emergencies happen. So no issues there, and you're actively trying to find a solution with her, not like letting the dogs get constipated or whatever. When one has a dog that is high maintenance, you don't ask friends, even paid. You pay for a service. I cat sit for friends often. I will go above and beyond, but what I promise to deliver is a single 30 million visit. I usually end up doing 2 and more than 30 million each, but I am mindful that I have a life. I have this perception that it is not okay to have a binder of care instructions for a person for whom it is not their day job to learn to care for your pet. NTA. It was a family emergency, not like you just changed your mind and didn't want to do it anymore. You kept her in the loop the whole way. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.